The NFL draft is getting closer and closer, and NFL teams are starting to finalize their boards to gear up for the upcoming draft. In this 7 round Jets mock draft, we're making the picks. Stick around and we'll reshape the future of the New York Jets. I'm Julian Locasto, and this is the Gangrene Report. Let's get into it, guys. Welcome to our 4th edition of Mock Draft Mondays, where we'll be putting on our GM caps and making the picks to help our beloved New York Jets reshape this roster for not just 2025, but for the years to come. In this mock draft, guys, we'll be fixing the offensive line, specifically the right tackle position. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors right now going on with the New York Jets, especially at the tackle spot. There's a lot of rumors linking the Jets to potentially Will Campbell and even guys like Armand Membu at number 7. So in this draft, if either of those two guys are on the board at number 7, we will be selecting those guys, one of those two. So in this particular scenario, Will Campbell went off right before our pick, and Armand Membu is still here. So we are going to be selecting our new right tackle of the future, Armand Membu. The Detroit Lions, obviously we have Aaron Glenn coming over from Detroit. He saw what a high-powered offensive line could really do for that team. So I'm really on board with potentially having that as an early option for us. So right then and there, we are filling in a right tackle spot that is left void by Morgan Moses leaving for the New England Patriots. So we are seeing that the offensive line is now being put together with Armand Membu now. At pick 42, there's a lot of really, really good options right here. Tyleik Williams at 42 would be the perfect selection. But in this spot, I'm going to potentially pivot. I want to see what we have here. I like Jaden Higgins. I just feel like in this draft, there's some decent guys at wide receiver later on that we could take swings on, but I feel like right now wide receiver 2 is a really, really big need for this team. So I'm going to go Jaden Higgins with pick 2 just to really solidify that spot for the New York Jets. So right off the rip, we've gotten our tackle of the future and our wide receiver of the future taken care of. And obviously, as I say all this, my guy, Ozzy Trapillo, is still on the board here. Marcus Mabau, another tackle prospect that could be there for us there. But for me here, 3 things stand out. 3 pass catchers at the tight end position are still on the board. Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, and Terrence Ferguson. The Jets' new tight end coach, I believe his name is Jeff Blasco, was at Oregon last week for Terrence Ferguson's pro day. Obviously, there's a lot of really good prospects there, but when you send your tight end coach to go to a pro day, obviously you're going to be there for the tight ends. So I'm going to say where there's smoke, there's fire. Terrence Ferguson had himself a phenomenal year with the Oregon Ducks. He actually was 5th in the country in yards after the catch per reception with 9 yards after the catch. And I really do think, I believe he led the country in tight ends at that spot as well. I really like his athletic upside. He was an absolute animal at the combine, leading in the 40-yard dash and even excelling in the vertical jump. So his lower body power is there. There was a lot of questions about his top end speed. So I'm really I think he put those to bed with his 40. So I'm going to go Terrence Ferguson here. Right off the rip, we have now established some really good pass catchers for the New York Jets and solidified the offensive line. But I think now at this spot, we have to start thinking about the interior of our defensive line, just because I feel like that is going to be a really big position of need going forward. Obviously, Deion Walker is still here on the board. He's somebody that's falling down a lot of people's boards, has a high pass rush win rate, really high run stop rate as well. This could be somebody that could be, from what I'm hearing, he's falling down a lot of boards right now. He would be a really good pick here. Enos Peebles, really good option as well. Really good against as a rusher. Jamari Caldwell is a big interior guy that a lot of Jets fans love as well. I'm going to see here. I'm going to go Jamari Caldwell. I think, obviously Deion Walker would be a really good selection here, though. 6'6", 345. That's a big guy to then throw next to. But I'm going to go Jamari. I think he just has a better fit. He's a round ball guy that can go right next to Quinnen. That would be my option right there. So right now, we have the tackle spot filled up. We have wide receiver 2. We have our tight end 1. We have our guy that's going to be our big run stuffer right next to Quentin Williams. I think right now, and he's staring me right in the face, I'm not going to second guess the pick, but Billy Bowman Jr. is somebody that I feel is a big sleeper at the safety position this year. I just think that he has such great upside. And I'm going to be honest with you guys right now, in the first 5 picks of this draft, I feel like we have 5 starters, or at least 5 guys that could play right away. So I just think we've attacked really good positions of need here. And I think we're set with a lot of these positions in terms of starters. I think now with the end of the 5th and 6th round guys, now we're trying to take swings on potential traits here. I still think linebacker is a sneaky need. So I think what I'm going to do here is go Kobe King out of Penn State. I just feel like right now we're unsure about Quincy Williams specifically, whether or not, he's going to be back after this next coming season. We only have him on contract for 1 more year, and he's looking for an extension. We just extended Jamie Sherwood. I feel like Kobe King could be a really good selection here, just as a developmental linebacker that we can use for a season, as somebody who can learn behind Quincy and Jamie Sherwood and learn under this new staff, bring up into the system, and could be a guy that we can use the year following or even the year after, and maybe even have him as a positional guy that can sub in here and there on a couple of downs just to learn the system as well. So I like Kobe King here as a developmental late round linebacker that we can use to build around. So now in this section of the draft, I'm going to look at traits. And one of the big guys that I feel like could be here on the board, there's a couple of good receivers on the board that I like. Let's see, is there a couple of good guards? Maybe some interior guys. We need some depth at that position as well. Jonah Monheim is here, Dylan Fairchild, a couple of good receivers. But my guy is still on the board, and I like Miles Frazier. I don't even think he'll be here in the 6th round. I think he's going to go a lot earlier. Just a guy that adds a lot of flexibility on the line. He's played a lot at right guard, left guard, primarily over the last couple of years, but has played right tackle and left tackle in a pinch. So I like his upside from that perspective. I feel like, the Jets have been really in a bad luck situation with their offensive line over the last couple of years. So adding depth is something that I really like. And I think the Jets, for once, I'd like for them to be able to hit on these late round guys to potentially groom into the future. That's something that I'm looking at with these later round picks. And then with our last pick in the draft, I'm going to go. I know there's a lot of people that want to double up on tight end. Obviously, in this spot, there's not really going to be a lot of guys that I like to go double up on that position. But there are a couple guys that I feel like could be options later in the rounds here. And I feel like I'm going to go double up on the safety position. I'm going to go RJ Mickens. I think Aaron Glenn played with his dad. Why not reunite with their kid later on? Let's see what they gave us for this draft here. They gave us a B-. Not bad, not bad. Again, this probably wouldn't be the route that I would go in terms of number 7. You guys know that I'm a big fan of maybe going to pass catcher here, or even just an offensive weapon in general with the guys that are BPA. But there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going around right now, Armand Membu being the new flavor of the week. They gave us an A- for the pick, obviously, but I really do think a lot of these guys could be developmental players in the later rounds that could help us later on with Miles Frazier, Kobe King, RJ Mickens. Those could be guys that we could have in the wings waiting. Billy Bowman Jr., Jamari Caldwell, Terrence Ferguson, Jaden Higgins, and obviously number 7 with Armand Membu. I think we hit on those picks in the beginning of this draft, and you're going to see a lot of those guys potentially be impact players from day one. So guys, let us know what your thoughts are on this mock in the comments. Do you agree with the picks? Do you hate them? Would you do anything differently? Sound off in the comments below. Like this video if you already haven't, and subscribe if you're new. And as always, guys, go Jets.